Hello, on behalf of myself and the people here at Makino, I'd like to welcome you to today's Makino Experience Center. Today, we're going to talk about the DA300 Package machine. And we're going to be joined, my name is Bill Howard, I'm the product line manager for vertical machining centers here at Makino. And in a few minutes, we're going to go out in the showroom and we're going to be joined by Mr. Alan Duvall, who's the group team leader for our medical technologies group. So those are the two folks you'll be seeing as we go through. And what we're going to do literally is walk you around and kind of show you the DA300 and the features and how it operates. So if you were to have one, you would know how to run the machine. As we're talking today, over to the right-hand side, you'll see a chat box with a Q&A. If, while we're talking, you have some questions that come up, if you type those in that little box there and send those at the end of the session, we'll be able to address as many of those questions as possible. Let me make the screen small again. Okay. We're actually coming to you today from the Makino Mason headquarters building. We actually have two experience centers here. This is Experience Center number 1. We have another one down the hall, Experience Center number 2. There are also two experience centers at our Auburn Hills facility in Auburn Hills, Michigan. So, just a little commercial, if you will. If you're looking to have a focused, directed, confidential, team-to-team meeting, our folks and your folks. So it allows us to get more folks involved from our side, more folks from your side, without the dollars and travel and time. We can talk about a machine, we can talk about a part, an application, we can talk about automation. So just keep that in the back of your mind that, again, these experience centers, both at Mason and Auburn Hills, are available to use to meet confidentially, directed, focused with your team. I'm going to take a couple minutes here just to introduce you to the DA300 package. This is what the machine looks like. And basically what we've done is we've got a new integral chuck that sits in the table of the machine. And in case you don't know, the DA300 is a tilt rotary 5-axis machine. So we have an integrated chuck which provides a new pallet interface for the machine. We have automation, as you can see, on the front of the machine. There happens to be 40 pallets out there. So now you have the ability to have 40 different work pieces or pallets. Actually have multiple sides on some of those pallets. We can control all this. You think about 40 pallets, somehow I need to have control over what one's where and in priorities. So there's an integrated cell controller, and it's a fixed configuration in that it's not only 40 pallets, but it also has an expanded tool magazine, ATC 118 tools. This is a little quick video just to give you an idea. You'll see here, that's the automation portion there in the front, the 40 pallets with a load-unload station. And then you'll see the dual ring ATC magazine providing 118 tools. So that's what we're gonna, I mean, we could stand in here and look at slides all day, but I think it's much more beneficial. We're gonna transition out to the showroom. Alan's out there waiting for us with the DA300. So let's all take a walk out to the showroom. Okay, Alan, what do you say we start with a pallet?
Sounds good. Let me go ahead and unload a pallet for you. There's a pallet for you, Bill.
Alrighty. Basically, the pallet is one of the unique features of this machine. The top part of this pallet's an HSK A125, so you can mount your work to that. You can see there's already some pre-machining done there so that you can mount your workpiece right to that.
Yep, and you can also get pallets that are have no machining on them and that are blank.
So the HSK A125, let's flip it over and take a look at the other side. Number one, you'll notice that large diameter, 125 millimeter diameter HSK. So when we interface to the integral clamp mechanism in the machine, we'll be sealing on that surface there. The other thing is there's a large HSK surface there. The polygonal taper, that goes down into the table and that actually clocks the pallet rotarily. So that gives us very good repeatability basically on the A axis. Down inside of that polygonal taper is an HSK A63. So we literally reach up in there, grab that and pull down and clamp. So as we're pulling down, the polygonal taper is clocking us this direction, and then the HSK 63A pulls us down to get a full solid side face relationship with the underside of the pallet. Gives us outstanding stiffness and rigidity and repeatability to about plus or minus 3 micron, both radially and height-wise.
A couple other features on the pallet. Point out on the bottom side, we've got 3 different pin locations for poke yokings to prevent misloads. 1 for in the machine and 2 here for at the load station. So prevent operators from misloading a pallet when they're loading them into the system.
Very good.
Do we want to talk about the interface on the machine itself?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next.
Yeah.
Now that we've talked about the pallet, what we're going to see is a pallet change. You'll see the robot shutter opening there. If you're looking down there into basically the throat of the machine, there's the pallet coming in. It goes down into the polygonal taper receiver on the C axis and clamps, and then the door closes. So that completes a pallet change.
Nice thing with this pallet interface is we don't have any rubber seals to go bad because it's an actual interference contact. So you have a
Face surface
seal, yeah, built with no coolant or chip intrusion.
We're going to also show you while we're here, pallet being changed out. Again, the robot shutter opens. There comes the robot in. We're going to unclamp the polygonal taper, pick the pallet up, go out through the door, and there you go. So that completes a pallet load and a pallet unload cycle. Okay, Alan, now that we've seen the pallet and the interface and how it works with the machine, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you load and unload pallets and keep this system busy?
Here's a work set station for the DA300 package. Here's a work set station door and the operator panel. Here I'm going to call up a pallet to the load station. You see the robot's going to pull a pallet in. And this cylinder here is a representation of the maximum part size for this system. So here you can see the maximum work size on an actual pallet at the work set station. Maximum height is going to be 285 millimeters or approximately 11.2 inches on the first 4 layers. The top layer you're going to be at 300 millimeters or approximately 11.8 inches in height. Both throughout the entire system, maximum diameter is 360 millimeters, so approximately 14 inches in diameter. So you can see a very large work envelope on the pallet. Maximum weight on the pallet is 60 kilograms or 132 pounds. While the machine is operating, you can be loading and unloading parts, and it will not allow you to access the machine while things are moving, but as soon as the machine has stopped moving, you can now access the system. Another nice thing with the system is it will automatically unload and bring parts to the work set station as they're complete. So your operators don't have to worry about searching like I was doing here. Here on the left-hand side of the door, we have a placard that shows the maximum work size and which pallets have the 285 millimeter height restriction for easy reference. So your operators can easily look and reference this when they're loading jobs. This will also show a diagram of the pallet numbers and their locations.
The way it's laid out, we wanted to maximize the number of pallets, but we wanted to minimize the floor space. So if you look in there, there's actually 8 pallets on a layer, we call it a layer, and then there's 5 layers. So 8 times 5, that gives you 40 pallets. And because the roof is at the top, that allows the 285 millimeter and the lower 4 layers, and then the taller pallets, those go into the upper layer. So there's the potential to have 8 pallets in here that are 300 millimeter tall.
We're going to go ahead and load a multi-station fixture into the machine so we can look better at the clamp and unclamp mechanism. Now, as I mentioned before, once this door is open, the robot and machine can continue on machining. So we can be loading parts like this multiple station fixture, yet still be changing pallets in and out. Here you can get a better view of the actual rotation mechanism here. See, it locks very, very firmly in place at 90-degree increments. It has sensors built in, so it will only allow you to close the door when the pallet is in the right orientation. If we go ahead and unlock the pallet and unload it, as we mentioned earlier, you can see these are the 2 pins that prevent or misload. These are your pins here. If I go ahead and load that pallet in incorrectly, it will not seat until those pins are lined up. Another key feature with the workset station is part seat confirmation. So we have a laser that comes down and actually measures if there's a part in this location or not. And that is throughout the entire system, so it can see which pallets are loaded and if the workset station is loaded. You'll also notice the light up top here. That operator light will actually turn on and off as the door closes, so your operators don't have to remember to turn on and off the light. Same thing with the pallet clamping. Once this door closes, the machine will automatically clamp the pallet, so your operators don't have to remember to clamp the pallet every time that they load it in. So it's very safe, very user-friendly.
Okay, now that we've talked about the work set station and we've talked about the layout of the 40 pallets, why don't we kind of walk around the front of the machine and give you a view, if you will, of the layout of those 40 pallets. Another attribute of the DA300 package machine is the tooling. What we've done, the standard DA300 has a 60 tool drum. So what we've done here, as you can see, there's the standard 60 that is standard on the machine. We've added a secondary 60. So there's a primary and a secondary. 60 and 60 would give you 120, but we got to have an opening to move tools back and forth. So it ends up with 118 tools. The unique thing about this is the inner drum and the outer drum can change directly to the tool change position to the spindle. So there's actually a little shutter that runs from the outer magazine to the tool change position. You might say, well, what's that do for me? What that does for you is it makes, even though there's 118 tools here, it makes the seek and search times virtually identical to what an ATC 60 machine would be. So there's no downside penalty on lost production. Makino has equipped the DA300 and the DA300 package machines and many of our production verticals with Vision BTS. In the past, you took production time to actually check the tool in the work zone. So what Vision BTS does is as you bring the tool into the work zone, it takes a digital image of that tool. You can compare it to the tool length, tool diameter that's stored resident in the control against that tool. It checks it on the way into the work zone and it checks it on the way back from the work zone. So if you come in there with a drill and drill a bunch of holes, and on the way back you check the tool and all of a sudden it's broken, that prevents you from coming in there with a tap and trying to tap a bunch of blind holes. Keep in mind also that we offer, for those applications where you have to measure tool length, tool diameter, you're doing contouring, detailed work, we offer as an option a laser ATLM on a little pop-out stand that you can actually do tool length, tool diameter, measure it in process, as well as we can equip the machine with a spindle probe. And not only here can you use the spindle probe for finding the corner of a workpiece or setting offsets, this machine, 5-axis, you can also use it in order to determine center of axis rotation in order to set your axes. Alan, could you come in here and show us how you load and unload tools to this, particularly since there's actually 2 ATC 60 drums?
All right, let's go ahead and talk about how we would load and unload tools. Great thing with this tool changer is we have 2 locations where we can load tools for both rings. We can load tools while the machine's running without stopping the machine. If the machine requests a tool, it will actually pause until you're done. So you're not having to load tools through the spindle. You can keep production running. You can be changing broken tools out, all while you're just making parts. So here, to open the door, we're going to select which magazine we want, either magazine 1 or magazine 2, which is going to be the left or the right hand side. We're going to hit the handle button and then the door unlock button. We can open up the door to access the tool changer. While the handles button is pressed, if we know what tool we want, we can actually type it right in here and search for that, and it will bring that tool to the load position. So for instance, type in 120, we'll go ahead and hit search. It's going to bring that tool from whichever ring it is located in into that location. And now open the door. Grab the tool for loading and unloading tools. You can pull that tool out, go change that. Bring it back in, load that tool in, close the door, press the handle button, and we're back to machining. On our second magazine, the one on the left-hand side, do the same thing. The operation for loading a tool is just a little bit different. All the same steps, open the door, but we have a crank handle to load and unload tools. We simply crank the handle in, it grabs the tool, pulls it out, crank the handle back, and it puts the tool back in. So once I've loaded a tool, you have this button here, it's called Edit Tool Data. I can load all my information for that tool back here at the panel without having to go up to the front of the machine and type information in the control. So I can have my tool cart sitting here, I can be loading tools, typing all the information in. If I'm using a presetter, I can type in all my lengths, I can tell it what type of tool, I can set, do I use through spindle coolant, I can set spindle loads, I can put notes, I have a multitude of information. I can set my tool life, I can set my spare tools back here. So very, very powerful panel to have back here for running automation. Just a handy feature to have is, let's say you're running production and you have some broken tools. Instead of having to identify which tools are broken and physically call them up, we have this handy alarm tool search button that we'll press. If we press that, it will bring an alarm tool up to the operator position so we can manually unload that. Then once that's done, I can reset my tool life here at this interface and get back to machining. So let's go up to the front of the machine here. We'll take a look at how we control the whole system from the control. On the machine, we have software set up to bring and tie everything together, all the different technologies. So to tie in automation, to tie in pallet ejection for tool breakage, everything can be done here at the control and at the pallet station. So all of our tooling can be managed here on the control, just like on a standalone machine. Nice thing is now, with the package machine, we have an interface where we can view all the different pallets, view their status, we can look at the order they're set up to machine, We can assign programs to run from that particular pallet. We can express a pallet, as in send it to the top of the list. We can suspend a pallet so that it doesn't run. We can change the machining order we've already established. And we can look at where pallets are in the system. So let me go through the page here and just give you a brief rundown of this. So here you can see a representation of the actual pallet magazine in a tiered system. So you can see the pallet numbers that are associated. If I click on one of those pallets, it's going to show me my program information, what program's assigned to it. Any information about that pallet is stored here. So I can click on any of those pallets. You'll notice that there are different colors on some of these pallets, and that represents different statuses of those pallets. An example of those different colors is here. Green shows that it's ready. It's ready to machine. It has material set up on the pallet. Machining finished is going to show up as orange. That's going to mean it has been in the machine, it's machined, it's ready for a part to be removed. A pallet that shows up as blue means that's the pallet that's in the machine currently being machined. Yellow, as you can see on pallet 12 here, shows that that pallet is suspended, as in even if it is ready to run, we're saying we don't want that pallet to run. So maybe you're setting up the next job to run, you can set it all up, get material loaded, and suspend those pallets, so when you're ready to run that next job, you can just simply click on that pallet and turn it to ready, and it'll machine. A pallet that shows up white is waiting setup. A pallet that shows up red is going to be a pallet or a face alarm. And what either a pallet or face alarm would be is, let's say you had a tool break. So we talked earlier about the Vision BTS and tool breakage. Machine also has tool life, so if a tool runs out of life and breaks, and the Vision BTS catches it or the laser catches it, it will automatically eject that pallet, flag that pallet red, and then move on to the next pallet and use sister tooling. So that's what types of alarms that you could see on a pallet for being red. And then the little airplane icon, which we can see here on 12, is express, and that means move that to the absolute top of the list. Now, how do we look at what is ready to be machined and what is in order? We can look here. This is just a brief snapshot. This shows our pallets an order that they're going into the machine. This shows what's in the ready station, ready to go in the machine, and what's in the actual machine. So we have nothing in the machine, pallet 26 in the buffer, ready to go in the machine, and 33, 11, 10, and 9 are next in order. If I want to change that order, after I've gone and readied those pallets, I can come here to our Edit Machining Order button, and I can just simply click and move that up or down in the order. I can change my order that way. Very simple. Another area you can see here is this would show the area for what is going into the work set station next. So what parts have been complete and are coming to your work set station, and what that order is. Another neat feature of the software is how we can identify pallets for operators. Each pallet, if you click the Show Image button, we can actually upload a JPEG file and create notes on that pallet for identification. So it's easy for the operators to click a pallet, know what it's supposed to be, know where a particular job is. In addition to this graphic user interface here, we also have a list where you can look at it in a different view. All of this is customizable, so you can have more detailed information or less detailed information. So it gives you different options. So this is where you're going to start setting up your jobs. Now, if we want to actually operate the system, it's a very simple to get the system started. We simply come up here to our My panel, we turn on random mode, and we hit random start. And that's going to put the machine in, tell the machine we're ready to start machining parts. And it will then look at the machining order and load the first pallet in and start cutting. Now, once the machine is in operation, you won't be doing much on this side of the panel. Once a job is set up, and jobs are set up, and you're just changing parts in and out. That's when your operators will be mostly working from the interface panel at the workset station. So now we'll go ahead and move over to the workset station operation panel, and I'll go over that in depth. So now we're at the workset station operation panel. So after we've set programs up on the control, we can now operate the machine from here. This is where we're going to load parts, unload parts, load in pallets, unload pallets. We can also from this page suspend, express, and call up individual pallets as needed. Starting at the top, here, this shows what pallet is actually on the table of the machine. This is current statuses. This shows what pallet is in the workset station. This pallet shows what is in buffer 1, which is the incoming pallets, and buffer 2 is the outgoing. Top shows if we have an emergency stop, alarm, a warning, or we're in maintenance mode, so the operators don't have to go back to the control to see the state of the machine. This also shows the status of if we're at origin or if the workset lock is on or not. Say I wanted to call a pallet up to the workset station. Simply, I'll type the number in, hit enter, and hit the search button, and the system's going to bring that pallet here to the workset station. Now we can see it shows pallet 22 in the workset station. From there, if we want to access the part, we hit workset station door unlock, and it's going to provide us a prompt. If the system was moving and we were not able to open the door, it would be flashing and would not allow us in the machine to be able to rotate that door until the machine has stopped moving. So it will grant us permission to go in. Once that door is open, the machine will then take off and continue running. So now that we've got the pallet, that we want to work on, either remove, add a new one, change parts out. Simply, if we want to unlock the pallet, we have workset pallet unlock. That's going to unlock, so we can pick the pallet and take the pallet out. We can turn on or off our light, which automatically turns on when we pull the pallet in. But most of the time, what you're going to use is this information right here. This will show you the status of the pallet. And then here you have your ready button. So as you can see, we've got parts that have already been machined. We would remove these parts, and it would have a button here that says remove parts. We would press that. It would then turn the pallet into a waiting pallet. Then once I've loaded material onto this pallet, I can hit this ready button. You can see the green light turn on, and that indicates to the system that this pallet has material and we're ready to run. It's as simple as that. Unload the part and hit ready. When I'm done, I close the door and I hit finish. The system is automatically going to remove that pallet and send that pallet back to where it was and pull our next pallet that is in the queue on the workset station. To see what that queue is, we can look up top. Just like on our work data page, we can see our order. It just shows us a preview of the next 5 going into the machine, or MC order, and work set station order. So for right now, nothing is scheduled or queued up to come to the work set station. So if I wanted to call another pallet to, let's say, load a new job, I can type in, say, 7 and hit search. It would bring that pallet in. While the system's running, if I try to open the door, see, it's not going to let me open the door until it has completed its task. I'm going to set my job up, add stock, hit ready. Now, if this pallet I did not want to run, I can hit the suspend button from here and suspend it. Shows up with a little yellow star here. Also, if I wanted to express this to move it to the very top of the list, I can hit the express button and it would express that, turn the express on for that particular pallet. You can only have one express pallet in the system, as it makes it the top priority. One other area we have here is under various mode is we can turn on random mode, and we also have what's called auto change mode and work set station auto transport mode. Work set station auto transport mode means it will automatically bring a completed part to the work set station. If you don't want the system to do that, you can turn that off. Auto change mode tells it to automatically eject a pallet if a tool breaks or if there's a machine alarm. If you want to leave, let's say you have a tool break on a part and you want an operator to physically come over and inspect that at that time, you can turn off auto change mode and it won't auto eject. So your operators, when they're running the system, once it's set up initially, most of your work is going to be at the operation panel here and at the tool change panel.
Alan, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully we've provided you some basic, good, solid information about the DA300 package, the productivity of that machine, and the system. I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And at this point in time, we'll take a look at your questions and we'll try and answer as many of those questions as we can, time provided that we have here. The other thing I'd like to remind you is, this will be posted to www.makino.com. So at some point in time in the future, if you have folks you want to show this to, that you'll be able to find it there. So again, thank you very much. I had a couple questions that have come in. One of them was about the pallets themselves, the polygonal taper pallets. The HSK A125 on the working side. On the clamping side, they're polygonal taper with an internal HSK A63 clamp. Those come pre-machined, ready to go, but we also sell them as blank pallets, as Alan mentioned when we were out there, so that you could actually go in and do the machining on those yourself. There was another question about keeping the workpiece from rotating at the load-unload station. There is a 4-position, every 90-degree locking, and it clamps it in place, so you're not going to be fighting the pallet trying to rotate around you. You could load different workpieces on different sides of the pallet. So that, and there's also, as Alan mentioned, a poke yoke kind of arrangement there that prevents you from putting the pallet in the wrong orientation. So there's no way you're going to be able to feed that pallet into the machine. There was another question about Vision BTS and laser ATLM. What is standard and what's an option? the Vision BTS system, the digital camera where we take an image and compare that, that is the standard configuration. The idea is to do all that in the tool changer so that you're not adding cycle time in the work zone to measure the tool. However, as you saw when we were out at the machine, there is an optional laser ATLM, and it's on a little tray that comes out, and that can be used. Obviously, that's in the work zone, and that can do anything and everything that your typical laser ATLM can do. There was another question that I'm going to be able to answer part of it, but the other part of it, question was, what's the machine footprint in square feet and power consumption? I don't know right off the top of my head, and I didn't have time. I know the machine is about 20 feet from the front of the machine, so the pallet rack system, the front of the work pallet system, the 40 work pallet system, to the back of the very back of the machine, and the very back would be the discharge of the lift up chip conveyor. And that's a Mayfrian Concept 2000. It's because there's both kinds of chips here. So it's 20 feet deep, and width-wise, basically from the tool changer, on the tool changer side, so the outside of the ATC 118 to the furthest point, basically on the operator side, is a little over 12 feet. So if I take basically 12 times 20, you're looking at about 240 square feet is the, it would be the floor coverage. Now, compared to a lot of the competition, this is very compact. And keep in mind now, you've got 40 pallets in there, plus the load unload station, 118 tools. So the other part of that question was the kilowatt per hour. Obviously, that would be the combination of the spindle. So that's going to be the biggest. And I, off the top of my head, I do not remember. We're probably looking to 20 to 30 kilowatt hour there. And then each of the servo drive motors, so you'd have X, Y, Z, and then A and C. And then obviously any of the other, the tool change motors, the coolant pumps, that kind of thing. So I can't right now, this instant. What I can do is if you'll contact your local Makino rep, we can get that to you because obviously we have all that technical information. That kind of ends our questions. Before we go, number one, I'd like to thank you for joining us here today for our EC broadcast of the power of 5-axis and automation, the DA300 and the automation package. I'd also like to point out that if you registered for this, you should be getting an email link that will allow you to take another look at this Experience Center broadcast. Keep in mind, if you have some other folks in your organization that you would like to see this, you can basically pass that link to them that would allow them to see the Experience Center. And as I said earlier, out by the machine, in a few days, this will be posted to www.makino.com. And therefore, again, you can take a look at that and pass it around to any other folks in your organization. So once again, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.